All right, guys, I've had several requests to cover this project, so let's get it done. This one is called Stable Beans. It's from a trusted developer who's done a couple other projects. What is it? So Bean Machine did Bean Machine. He's got like a casino, some NFTs, stuff like that. So because some people were in those previous protocols, they said, hey, this miner just launched, can you cover it? So I am covering it, and I did just get in. So it's pretty interesting, some interesting game theory, a little bit different. As you guys know, I like to get in early. This actually launched a few days ago, but the contract at that point wasn't immutable, and I'm not really interested in getting any contracts that aren't immutable. They made the tweaks that they needed to, so I think there's a couple other people who have done videos on this. If you notice, originally there was just a couple rules that were slightly different, or a couple percentages that were slightly different rather. They have tweaked those, got it dialed in, they've made the contract immutable, got a pretty good audit score. So I went over that and decided, okay, it's worth a try here, right? It's worth a gamble. And as you guys know, there's risk in DeFi. So this is your disclaimer. This isn't financial advice. If you choose to get into a miner, know you are getting into a high risk protocol. Everything in crypto is risky. DeFi is even riskier. So never put money in a protocol that you can't afford to lose. I get into a lot of stuff personally, and I just try to see how many boxes it can check. You know, if they've got a pretty decent audit, if the contract is immutable, if the dev has a previous good track record, if I have the ability to talk to them, ask questions, and get more clarity on exactly what the protocol does, then normally I feel confident enough to give it a go. And I like to get in as early as possible, go hard, make sure that I ROI, and then after that, I play with house money. So if you plan to get into this miner or any other miner, try to get in soon, follow the rules exactly so you don't get hit with any extra taxes, get yourself to ROI, and then from then on, do whatever you want. The name of the game here is, of course, to make money. If you want to get in to try and do that, do it. And if you want to sit this one out, that's okay too. Some of you guys just come because you enjoy the content and learning about different protocols. And I appreciate you guys for that. A lot of times you guys will see this, you'll jump into my Telegram, ask me a couple questions about it just because you're curious, even though you don't have an intention to get in. The fact is, when I first started miners, I needed to get myself past that learning curve, understand how they all worked. So I like dealing with a lot of different protocols right now because it helps me learn different game theories, get in touch with devs so you can build a relationship with the trusted devs who are going to keep coming out with good projects. And that's how I personally play the game, but you play it whatever way you want. You're an adult and you get to make your own decisions about your own money. I'm going to gamble some of my money here on Stable Beans. So Stable Beans is interesting. It's got some interesting game theory. We'll scroll to the top here so I can just break it down for you. So already right now there's 348 people in and about 56,000 in BUSD locked. I love BUSD and I love transacting on the Binance Smart Chain. So these are normally a fairly good fit for me. So the theme is that you hire farmers, you grow crops, and then you harvest. So this protocol will pay out an average of 8% daily. There's a 10% referral bonus for any of you guys that are interested in growing teams, a 3% daily hire bonus, a 12-hour compound timer. So you want to try to compound every 12 hours if you can. If you miss one, it's not a big deal. There's a 4-hour withdrawal cooldown, which just helps from dumping, a 48-hour rewards accumulation cutoff. So you do have to come in here and do some sort of transaction every 48 hours. That way you can't just let your rewards build and build and build and build. And then at the end, the whales who have built up, thousands and thousands of dollars, they dump it all at one time. So it won't let them build that up. It's kind of an anti-dump mechanic, and it helps people. If you guys have been in miners at all in the last year or even the last couple of years, you've noticed that some contracts allow that. The big whales in the system will let it add up, and then in the last few hours of the protocol being live, it just dumps, and everyone thinks it's a rug pull. When in fact most of the time it's just all these big whales claiming at one time, and as soon as everyone is seeing that the contract balance is going down, they're all trying to get out. So this will help that. The dumps will be less significant. And that just adds a little bit to the sustainability. There is also a 10-time mandatory compound feature. So you compound it 10 times. Basically, you compound it for 5 days, and then it releases the tax. If you claim prior to that, there's an 80% tax. So really, if you guys have been in the recent stuff with me, dollar beans, purple beans, all that stuff, it was all on a 10-day claim window. You would basically deposit your money, and then you could compound if you wanted to, or you could just continue to let that add up. And then in between day 9 and day 10, that's what your claim window was, where you pay no taxes. This one just works a little bit differently. So if you haven't compounded that 10 times or got yourself through that 5-day period, then you would pay an 80% tax. But as soon as you get yourself to that period and you've compounded for those 5 days, then that tax is no longer applicable and you can take some money out tax-free. So we'll scroll down here. This is where you actually put your money in. As you can see, I deposited $800. That is how much risk capital I was willing to risk in this protocol. In order to do that, if you want to put your money in, you will need to come approve BUSD, right? You got to tell MetaMask, hey, it's okay for this contract to interact with my BUSD. So you got to type in 800 here or whatever you want. You approve the BUSD, MetaMask will pop up, you confirm it, and then your deposit will be the same. After that's confirmed and BUSD is able to be transacted with, you come in here and hire your farmers, basically make your deposit. Once that's done, it will go up in your total deposit here. It will allocate your farmers over here, and it will tell you what your estimated daily yield is. For right now, mine is $62 a day. Now, my cart will be full in 43 hours, 49 minutes, meaning that I need to do something with it by that time. I can compound again in 7 hours and 45 minutes. So toward the end of the night for me, what I'll do is I will come in here and compound. That will be my first compound, and then I will try to do it again in 12 hours, which will be tomorrow morning. And then I'll try to do it every 12 hours if I can, because I need to try to, if I can, to get those 10 compounds in. You got to really compound for 5 days to have this go away. And where it says harvest crops, negative 80% tax, the second that you have compounded for that period, for that 5-day period, this goes away. So it's going to be real obvious. This says 80% tax on it if you're going to get taxed 80%, and it will go away if you're not going to get taxed 80%. So I just want to make it foolproof so people understand. I know there was issues in all of them, in all the recent ones. Baked beans 2, dollar beans, purple beans, with just people not understanding what their exact claim window is. This is going to tell you. If it has a red 80, I don't recommend claiming during that period unless you just need a little bit of capital and you got to get out and you're willing to eat the tax. For me, I'm not. I'm going to try to play this game exactly like it's designed to be played. And I'll say that about any miner. If you get into a miner and you want to be successful, it's a very good idea to get in as early as possible. In addition to that, follow the rules exactly. Get your claims out when you can. Make a plan that's the most effective plan to get yourself to ROI first. The people who don't make money in miners generally are the ones that get in late or don't pay attention to the rules of the protocol. Then they end up getting hit with an extra tax or something like that, claiming when they're not supposed to. That slows down their ability to ROI, and then they struggle with it. So with this one, I'm going to play this exactly like I'm supposed to. I'm going to do my best to compound this every 12 hours because I want to get that bonus. If you compound every 12 hours, you get a 3% bonus, and it'll max out at 30, right? Which would be 10 compounds. So if I make $100 and I'm ready to compound that $100 back in, this 3% doesn't go on the 8% you're going to get per day. It goes on the amount that you're compounding. So if I'm going to compound the first time and I've got $100 in there, then it would add an extra $3 to my compound, which is awesome. And that would work all the way up to an extra $30. So if you miss a compound, it's not a big deal. You just don't get that extra bonus. And of course, it's nice to get an extra bonus. Now it's only 3%, so it's only $3 for every 100 that I'm going to cycle. So I'm really probably only get maybe like $2 added on each time, but it's something additional, goes with the game theory, and that's the process. So if you dig this one, you got to approve the amount of BUSD you're going to put in there. You got to deposit your BUSD. It comes over here, it tells you what you're going to get every day. And then you should do your best to every 12 hours compound it. And then every 5 days or every 10 compounds, this 80% tax goes away. You harvest your crops, which just means you claim, you take some profits. Hopefully you guys have a tracker to show here's how much I put in and how much I've taken out, so you know exactly when you're going to ROI. You say, hey, I got $60 back in profits, or I got $100 back or $200 back in profits. I'm X percentage to ROI, and then that's how I would do it, right? I have a spreadsheet of all my degen plays just like this. I put in the amount of the deposits I make every time I take money out of the protocol, and then I put it back in. I will track that, and that just lets me know how close I am to ROI. So I'll move my face real quick just so you can see that, because I've been talking a lot about this button. Here's the timer. This is when my next bonus will be activated. So in 7 hours, 44 minutes, I want to get that extra 3%. I'm going to want to come in here and compound, which hire more farmers. That's what that means. And then harvest crops. I don't want to harvest crops if there's a red 80% tax here. Once that goes away, it's my time to harvest crops, and that's the appropriate way to do it. Like I said, play the game like it's meant to be played, and you'll have the highest likelihood of making money. So let's hit a couple of key points from here, and then I'll send you on your way. There's a lot of data on here, like in these frequently asked questions, so I'll let you read through it. But what is Stablebeans? That comes up a lot, right? Stablebeans is a decentralized application built on the Binance Smart Chain. The object of the game is to hire more farmers sooner and more often than the other players. This in turn earns you more BUSD faster. These farmers work tirelessly for you, giving you a daily average of 8% of your farmer's value. The daily percentage return depends on a player's actions that are taken within the platform that impact the farmer's efficiency rate. Again, compounding gives you that extra 3%. The farming efficiency rate rises and falls as users buy farmers, rehire your earnings, and sell your crops for BUSD. Once farmers are bought, they cannot be sold. Again, that's typical with basically every miner. And the investment made to rehire them, either through the hire or rehiring, cannot be taken back. So those deposits are locked, and you're really just earning the rewards on what you've purchased on your deposit. It says, however, once bought, farmers will not stop producing yield. So they're going to continue to go once you purchase them. So I won't read all this section, but I'll highlight it real quick. What makes Stablebeans different from other protocols like this? Stablebeans has a few anti-dump mechanics, anti-well measures in place. Those are in place to ensure the longevity of the project. As we discussed earlier, it has a cutoff time. So within that 48 hours, you really need to do an action. There is a cool down time for withdrawals. I referenced this earlier as well. The compound count is the number of times the user has compounded by default. The required compound count by the platform is 10, meaning the user will have to compound 10 times once every 12 hours before they can withdraw without the feedback tax of 80%. So that's 5 days, again, every 12 hours. So you do your best to compound every 12 hours to put yourself in the best position possible. And then of course, if you do that every 12 hours, you're going to get your additional bonus. For the players who choose not to play the game and only sell. So if you purchase in, you try to get it, your point is just to drain the account. You're going to be hit with that 80% tax, so it really won't work. So in my opinion, the only way really to get into this one is to play the game exactly. The only reason at all that you should ever be selling and getting hit with the 80% tax is eventually when the miner dies. If you notice the contract balance is super low, you may just want to eat the 80% tax to get a few more funds out of it, and that's it. Outside of that, I would never claim during that 80% tax window because it's just a massive hit to your P&L. I don't want to get taxed at all, let alone 80%. What else do we got here? Here's a good one that's important for everyone to know. What is the recommended strategy? So the best strategy, and let me just preface this by saying again, play the game in the way it's meant to be played and you'll have a higher likelihood of success. So the best strategy that the team can recommend is to rehire or compound for 6 days and harvest 1 day a week. This will increase the user's investment at the same time increasing their daily yield earnings. The strategy has already been tried and tested by several projects and is proven effective for both the short term and long term. So 6-day compound strategy, 1-day claim strategy is the idea that they have here. So I will likely follow that because it says it's the best practice. And of course that makes sense with the tokenomics. So again, only get in if you're willing to risk it. Miners, of course, are inherently risky. If you do want to get in, I will provide a link below that you can jump in. You'll just connect your wallet, approve your BUSD, hire your farmers, which will put it over here, and you'll know how much you're going to make per day. And then you may want to set some alarms every 12 hours so you know to jump in, compound, get your additional bonus, and then we'll be doing a 6-in-1 strategy. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Again, another miner. It checked enough boxes for me personally for me to take a shot at it. I'm interested in it. I'm going to try to turn my $800 into $1,600. So we'll see if we can do it. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, please comment down below if you have any questions at all. Happy to answer them. Hope you're having a great day. Happy investing.